Hey everybody, Asher here, back with even more Kerbal Space Program, where you can see I've upgraded some of my facilities from the fantastic science that we've done. Most importantly is the tracking station. We'll get to there in a minute. But I've also upgraded some science, which means I've unlocked a few new possible contracts, although getting them in play will be a little bit of a complication. Such as I have a contract to get ore from Ike. Only problem is I don't have any mining facilities on Ike. I still have my Duna things as well, so the next thing that I launch to the Duna system will definitely have something that can mine from Ike. Otherwise, I also finally have a contract not to explore Eve, but just position a satellite in polar orbit of Eve. Once again, just tell me in the comments what you think or what you know. Those exploration contracts, I feel like they should have been there, and for some reason they aren't. But I mean, we'll make do, we'll carry on, we'll travel. But let's actually look at the tracking station real quick. Because right now you can see that I do have some unknown objects, and if I focus on them a little bit closer, we don't necessarily know where they are going just yet, but we are just spotting these now, and we will have a lot more on the map in the days to come, and we'll get contracts to do things with these. Actually, did I find, okay, Class D is quite large, and then C are average size 7 to 10 meters, so C, and then a Class B, which are smaller. Class A's are about Kerbal size. There's a Class E, so that is a Behemoth. And unfortunately, I cannot track where it's going just yet. But we'll have to keep that one kind of in mind here. So if we just want to track the object, it's going to be intersecting with Kerbin pretty close to right here. It'll have a pretty low periapsis. So if we look at some of these objects, like I said, you can track some of them more specifically. You can meet them out in space or otherwise, but that'll give us something maybe to do here before too long if we don't get mining operations or other things. But I just want to take 2 points here. One is that to get to Duna, we had to have a certain phase angle, and the same is true for efficiently leaving Duna. Where we want Kerbin to be, let's focus on Kerbal because that's a little easier here. Where we want Kerbin to be in order to jump from Duna and efficiently make a transfer back to Kerbin here is right around here. That's going to be a really long time. In fact, by that time, if we just wait that long, the launch window to Eve, when it's right around here-ish, around there, I have to double check my phase angles, will have opened and shut. So I'm not going to be doing quite the full-fledged mission to Eve yet. I want to see if there's other contracts that pop up, just to make it profitable. And chances are we're going to be doing some fun stuff between then and now. But the first thing that we need to do before we sort of clean up any of this other business is kind of finish up with Duna, which means that we do have our landing stations. Let's focus on them. We have one landing station that's there. We have another landing station on Ike, which you got to see the commentary of, and this one will always be facing Duna, which is very important. Then we have the Duna lander that is back in orbit. And what we're going to be trying to do here today is see if we can meet up with the Duna Behemoth. Because we want to connect these things back so that they can just sit in a parking orbit and wait to actually leave Duna at the appropriate time. So let's fly and dock these things first. And then while we're waiting for this launch window to go, we're going to do some other fun stuff kind of in the in-between and see how much bukus of science we can return home. So, remember when this lander was a much bigger thing, and there's actually the Duna surface base of doom down there. So we've got a lot of memories. Bob and Valentina Kerman will actually be going home. Surely one day we will send a relief crew in here. Maybe we can do that with the mining operation for Duna as well. Because we've packed a whole lot into the first year, or a few of our space program, more than many other space programs. We actually have an old dead maneuver node for one of the tracking stations. I don't know how to get rid of that. But hey, right now we have a maneuver node in place to actually bust out our periapsis a little bit and try and make an intersection point with the Behemoth. We're going to see how this works. Honestly, I'm not a particularly big fan of making this kind of maneuver here, because what would be most efficient is to make something where we meet at the periapsis instead of matching orbits. But if we look at our fuel situation, I think we're going to be okay. I mean, like I said, worst case scenario is that this team just stays here a little longer and we have to actually wait it out for a rescue mission, just some kind of orbital refueler. Because I'm already have other people wanting to send things to Duna. Okay, did we just totally bypass that maneuver node? I think we did. Alright, well, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to recreate it then. I don't know why that happened. Alright, well, weird. Anyway, there was a maneuver node there. It's probably because I did a warp to morning off camera, so sorry guys. We'll do this again. Maybe it'll be a little better this time. Okay, we want our intersecting points 1 and 2 to be around the same. It's probably not going to be great that way, but let's see here. So intersection 1, intersection 2, target is how far away? Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Whereas if we go like this, see the problem with that is that we're totally messing up our orbits. We need the same periapses. So what we've learned here is that I had it nearly perfect the first time, and by just waiting a little bit of time, we are now not so perfect. And the one other issue is that we're on different orbital inclinations as well, so that's not great. So that's your distance at 1, 1.8, 1.15, 1.8, 1.4, 1.8. So if we do just a few rotations like this, eventually we'll be meeting up more efficiently. This is more of how I guess you're supposed to do it. Let's focus on Duna though, because that always makes life a little bit easier. Unfortunately, my orbit is so low here that we're gonna have, it's gonna be a little annoying to just time warp through this, because we're actually waiting for a specific maneuver that we can do here. So for some reason it doesn't want to go much faster, so we're just going to take our dear sweet time going around the circle. Okay. This is fun with Kerbal Space Programs. You have the exciting things like landings, then you have the not as exciting things like this. So we'll make do. Our maneuver node isn't even on the periapsis right now. I want to try and match these up just a little bit here. So 1.6 versus 1.7. Suddenly our marks are not looking so good. 1.5 versus 1.7. 1.6 versus 1.7. Alright, so I'll have to do it like this, I guess. I mean, the other thing that we can do here, this actually may be a better way to do it here, is turn this into a bi-elliptical transfer. Did I just zoomed past the fucking point again, didn't I? Okay, well, this time we're going to remember to slow down time. I'm sure someone's at home watching saying, wow, you are a moron, and I would be like, yes, you are absolutely right, I am pretty dumb. Maybe this time will be different though, right? Whoop. So if we do another orbit. Okay, that's not great. So in other words, we're just going to have to let this go for a little while. Like I said, the other thing that you can do here is just make this bi-elliptical. And by that I mean jumping out my periapsis a bit. Or my apoapsis, but I've been saying those things backwards for a very long time. I think maybe if we just let this come on down, as you're going to see, it's going to be going a lot faster here. I'm doing more work than I need to with this, I think. But maybe we got another match. I think we do. Alright, how close are we here? 11 kilometers, 5 kilometers. And by the way, when I say just doing a different kind of transfer, all I mean is taking this orbit out and just circularizing both of the orbits way beyond the planet. I just don't want to do that because it's a very efficient burn, or it's a much more efficient burn if you leave the planet closer to the periapsis as you can to try and get the maximum gravitational assist from the planet going back in. But 60 minutes, we are surely going to remember this time to slow down. right? Maybe. Sometimes if you're not sure if you can do something, just orbit a little while. We do need 200 some delta V, and right now I'm not entirely sure how our engines are going to handle this, so we will just burn on the periapsis and hope for the best. Let's burn at our marker though. Cool. Okay, 28-second burn, give or take. Like I said, we don't have perfect inclination balance or anything, but we'll make do. Now the other part of this is because we don't have perfectly matched orbits, is that when we're close we're still going to have to try and zero out our velocity and all that as best we can. So this is going to take a bit of fuel. Alright, so there's one node. Let's see, how close are we? There we go, 6.2. Actually don't have RCS thrusters on here, so we'll just make that be what it is for now. Alright, so let's set our next maneuver node to right here. Let's set our target velocity accordingly. Now let's fly away. Duna, we have conquered you, we have met you, and now hopefully we can escape you. Actually, quick save in case I do bad things with time acceleration, as I've been known to do. So 1 hour from the node, target velocity going down quite well. So 30 some meters per second, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. It's actually going really nicely. Alright. So let's just zero out our basic velocity with one another. There's Duna in the distance. Where's the Behemoth? Behemoth is nearby. Alright, so node soon. Where are you? There you are. Just zero it out now. So all we're going to do is go 0, and then when we get there, see if we can meet. Alright, so nearly there. This is not going to perfectly match orbits. We will be moving away from each other over time, as you can see the marker already moving here. You can see we're close in orbit, but we're not quite there. So our closest approach right now is actually pretty close to the periapsis, which is kind of what we want. Let's control from here. I just want to make sure that we're flying correctly towards our target. And you're going to see this is a lot like a lot of the docking procedures from before. Unfortunately, because we're so high up in altitude, we can do a lot of this in high space, in the sunlight. Although the sunlight does not mean nearly as much as it had before. So here's 40 meters per second. Look at how much we've screwed up our orbit already. This is fantastic. Alright. We're going to have to make a few of these maneuvers, I think. But yeah, kind of what the plan is after this is done, after we get our ship kind of ready to return all the science and return what crew that we're returning, is that we're going to have some fun at Kerbal while we wait. That includes getting ready for Eve, and that includes, let's see here, 0.5 meters. So we're going to be flying pretty close to one another pretty soon. Then 1,000 should be good. But yeah, we gotta get quite a few things ready. Whether it is, let's go ahead and slow down here. We got to prepare for asteroid collection. We've got to prepare for. See, now we're just flying away from things now. Alright, so slow this up, and there we go. Orbits are pretty matched now, which is good. Means we should be able to get in there pretty soon. And then once we connect, we will be just waiting for the go-ahead for mission control to fly back, of course. If it was Mars, there'd be about a 20-minute delay between instructions, so They'd have to send the OK about 20 minutes early, give or take. So it's interesting the level of autonomy you'd have on this kind of mission, which I guess is where you get to so many stories of people going to Mars and just going independent because you are so far away from Earth. Even if you go from like pop culture, like Total Recall, you get Red Faction, Red Mars, there's Ike again. It may be nighttime on Ike, but that same side is still facing Duna. So there we go. We'll be going in with just RCS power pretty soon. Because once again, we do not want to hit things with our engine. We don't want to knock things astray. And I'm going to have to pack up these solar panels in just a minute probably, so slow it down. See if we can go here a little closer. So 5, 4, and 100 meters is pretty damn good. Only downside is that our orbits are not matched at all. So we're going to be okay. Now we're back to matched orbits. Funny how that worked out. All right, let's go ahead and do this burn. We're using the RCS thrusters to keep things nice and gentle. Now we could turn the Behemoth towards this thing, and that may actually be the best move. Alright, so let's turn you to target, turn you to target, and hopefully we can have a straight on fly, because this is not very far. So let's see your target. See, the part we want to target is actually a little further away. Alright. Let's switch. Alright, so all we want to do is just target here. And I do have RCS thrusters. I could potentially do this another way, but let's see here. Oh wait, no pilot aboard. Cannot engage SAS. But we can rotate. That's for sure. So with no pilot aboard, Valentina is our only available pilot left. Of course, we have 2 pilots at Kerbal Space Center. We don't want to be going towards the maneuver node. We want to be going towards our target. So we'll see how that works out. There's our target on the nav ball. Like I said, we could do a highly inefficient burn to get back to Kerbin, and I guess technically I could plop this on the bottom here. The reason I'm going ahead and putting it up there though is because technically, as you can see from the decoupler, this whole science unit is supposed to detach. I mean, the design of this mission is we get everything in orbit, then we send in orbit around Kerbin, then we get an orbital rescue team to do it this way, and then make it work from there. So let's switch. Duna Behemoth. Can we target the Clampetron? We can. Set as target. There we go. All we want to do is just fly forward. Not too fast, but fast enough. 1 meter per second might really be pushing it. Alright. Okay, but we just want to get everything in there. And as we get a little bit closer, should be decent. Our heading seems okay. Let's accelerate just a little bit. Because 1 meter per second is a long, long time. Alright, so here we go. Can possibly get even closer, but you can see we're a little off center right now. So first thing is just to slow down. We actually want to burn retrograde on this marker. Okay, so one more time should do it. Alright. Let's see if we can get in there this time. So it looks like we're actually going straight on pretty well. Once again, I'm not even looking at too much other than the docking port, or looking at the little nav ball here. And we can turn our view just a little bit. Let's get the sunny side. Let's get the Duna action in here. Guys, are we going home? I think we are going to have to wait in orbit a little bit and then we can go home. Who got the crappy orbit work? I guess it's the first question you have to ask. Yeah, just slow it down, slow it down. Beautiful shot there. Alright, and slow it down some more. Slow it down even more. And attach. That was actually really fast for some reason, but look, everybody is now on board. We have a science station, we have a Behemoth, we have everything back together. Valentina can pilot everything all at once. Let's go ahead and turn off this engine. This has gone from a puller to a pusher unit. But the more important thing is that we do have some liquid fuel here that we can divvy up amongst the engines here, because we don't really want the front part having fuel, but we'll go ahead and get that splitting up off camera. Let's go ahead and hop back to some other fun things back on the planet Kerbal. Because like I said, if we zoom out in the map mode, we have a long time to wait in orbit before things happen. And we have other targets to talk about, so let's do it. Alright guys, so here we are on the moon with a mining platform. I told you we'd have some fun, although unfortunately the lead up to this got canceled out just a little bit, both because of recording issues and because I've had to adjust how I do a lot of recording and production based on feedback from people in terms of quality. So A, I hope the quality of this is okay, and B, I hope this turns out okay in terms of editing. So let me talk a little bit about how I got here, what's going on, and what doesn't necessarily work very well. Right now we are on mining platform beta, don't mind alpha, it didn't make it off the launch pad. And right now we have Paddock, and we're finally on our way to rescue Paddock, and unfortunately I did put some things up in orbit around the moon, and we can check the resources by checking the ore here. And Paddock actually had the presence of mind to land somewhere that does not have any ore in the soil or significant areas. You see, there's all kinds of places around the moon that have ore, and he picked one of two. Really one of three that just doesn't. So good job, Paddock. Now what we have here is a station that has a few things on it that are kind of new toys. One is the ore canisters here, and I do have a contract for returning 400 ore from the moon's surface to orbit around Kerbal. So we're going to be doing that with this ship. What we also have is a mining drill. Technically I have two, but unfortunately due to bringing insufficient solar panels, this is only running at 35.37 load, which really means that it takes things longer. Even though I have Deadford Kerman and Engineer on here, it still does take quite a bit of time. And the third thing that I have is an ISRU converter, which there's a lot of things that you can do with this. You can make monopropellant liquid fuel oxidizer or liquid fuel plus oxidizer out of ore, out of things that you get. That means this ship, given enough time, can actually refuel itself. And that is what I'm in the process of doing right now. Let's actually time accelerate a little bit and we will see the fuel go up here. And we're going to be waiting just one more time. You can see the electric charge is kind of going back and forth. And this should still be active. It will shut down when it's not active. So is our fuel actually going up right now? You see it takes its dear sweet time. But it does actually go up as we watch the sun. Now remember, the sky arcs like this because we are actually on the lower part of the moon, so towards the southern pole. So that's why Kerbal is there in the distance as the sky's turning. We're actually full up, so we can probably go ahead and just stop this. We do have a decent sunset right now, so I don't know if I want to wait till the morning, but we do have all the fuel that we're going to be getting. So let's just go ahead and retract these drills, and these drills will go down really deep. If you look at them in the parts area, that's what they're going to do. But since it is a little bit dim here, let's see here. Actually, we probably want to wait till the next day, just because Paddock is going to be in the dark in the crater. So let's just watch Kerbal. And this is one of the things I really like doing. And I've had a lot of time on the moon to actually watch that happen. So, sun is going to come up right now. On top of that, let's just let the sun go around. And there we go. Bright as daylight. I love that you can see the night lights, the night sky, or the skylines or the city clouds and lights mod on Kerbin. From over here, just another sign that the moon is far closer to Kerbin than the moon, our moon, is to Earth. But there we go. There's one flag from my first mining venture. Too bad we couldn't make it there, but we're flying to Paddock Kerbin today. So how are we going to get there? Pretty much a 90-ish degree burn, I hope. So let's find out here. All we got to do is, my engines are actually active already. They were not active before, so I should just be able to go for this on the nav ball right there, and we're not even going to be retracting our landing legs very hard. Let's just check and make sure we're going the right direction on map mode here. Looks like we are, so we can go ahead and thrust up and adjust. And we're pretty much going to be flying right to Paddock. Now this moon does rotate just a little bit, so we gotta watch it some, but as long as we can land decently close, we should be okay. Notice I'm doing kind of a horizontal burn right here. Our apoapsis is not going to be terribly high, and that's the point, kind of, is that we're going to fly out a little bit past where Paddock is, and then we're just going to go in for the landing. So here we are right there. Our second mining site, which I probably should have flagged, is gone. And Paddock, is he in a crater or is he on a ridge? That is an important distinction that unfortunately I can't zoom in any further on this map to see. You can also see that I scanned for ore by actually putting an orbiter up here in a polar orbit. I did the same on Kerbin. So more things that just kind of happened off camera. But like I said, there's some things that I'm going to be knocking out in this series that they're a little basic and things I've talked about before. So at least on Kerbin you can fly out 180 degrees and have to do kind of a minor fix. But here we're a little closer. And notice that Dudford has actually been on for for almost 30 days. So we're going to have to watch that a little bit. But here is a moon landing still. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a secondary moon rescue. But yeah, Paddock looks like he is actually in that basin. Oh my gosh, he picked the wrong place to land. Alright, well let's go ahead and turn around. Did I say land? I mean disassemble his vessel. Because we are, woo, motion sickness for everybody. Funny how it's FPSs that wreck me, but this is actually pretty okay. Alright, so we have to slow this down in a hurry. No, not that button. I wanted to look in the cockpit view just to see where our altimeter stood. Alright, so we're 5 kilometers or so away. 4, we're getting pretty close. And the nice thing about being, oh no, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I'm really sleep deprived right now. So, we want to land in the ridge, we want to get relatively close. I can take Dudford out to walk a little closer if it comes to that. But what we're probably going to be doing is having multiple little skip landings right here. I just want to slow it down because the moon, as I have mentioned, as I'm sure other people have mentioned as well, the moon is not an easy place to land on. Ike is not easy to land on either, but the reason it's not is the gravitational issues. So we may actually, okay, we ended up in the wrong cauldron, which is okay. But I just want to slow down anyway. This is not the most fuel efficient thing to do. And then if we bounce back up here, okay. If I can switch to Paddock, I'm just going to go ahead and land. I might be able to. I can. Uh-oh, there we go. Good. Now that I know I can switch to him, I can just have him walk on over. Because 1.5 kilometers is not terribly far on the moon. And this is a really steep slope, so we may not have a successful landing here anyway. In fact, let's just go. Uh-oh. Control your ascent. Learn to nav ball, actually. And see, now that I've switched to Paddock Kerman once, I should be okay. But all we're doing is we're just going to fly over here. Now the thing is that I do have enough fuel to actually make our way to a place where we can better handle refueling. Just because there's no ore listed here, and I love the cloud mods for this. The moon, our moon is not like this at all, but I love the little dust clouds here. It's a nice touch. Alright, so let's just go ahead. We're going to actually miss him. Let's turn off the SAS and we're just going to throw the brakes. I said we are going to throw the brakes. Nope. We're going to throw these brakes right now. Alright, this should be a better basin to land in. So let's just take our surface speed down. Very important that it's surface speed and not orbital speed, by the way. But Paddock, you did not pick the easiest place to get rescued from, but I guess that's the point. That's why it says a slightly higher prestige mission. And one that while I could have tackled it before getting a refueling vessel, I kind of wanted to just use this as a test for, okay, I have a refueling vessel. How does it do? Does it work okay? And so far, pretty good. I'm not centering very well, but another thing that some people would probably criticize, and it's pretty valid, is that the way this ship is designed is that I do have some external fuel tanks that make this heavier than it should be. Like, there's no great reason for me to ever decouple these. So that's something that I can fix in the future iteration. But what I have found, I do like the fact that this is a bit heavier than other moon landers that I've had. So I can accelerate. This is still going to be a bit of a slope, but we'll deal with it. I can accelerate a little more and kind of control my descent. We'll just see. Hopefully we don't tip over. Hopefully we don't need a rescue mission for a rescue mission, but that is the Kerbal way. So, okay, 7.321. We are hitting the ground hard. Okay, and this is why I did 4. Alright, we're good. Still a bit of a slope, but we're good. And only 400 meters away. So, here's poor Paddock. How long have you been here? You have been here for a year. So there is his crew hatch. Is there anything you want to get from the crew hatch before we go? Let's grab it. Oh no, we're not going to bother with that right now. Let's take a surface sample from the southwest crater. Keep the data. EVA report from the southwest crater sounds good. And then the other nice thing you can do, since you're on the moon and this is where we want to go, you can always double click the target and we can actually fly there just a little bit faster. Of course, you want to always try and control your RCS speed. It is possible to go really fast and then just give yourself a good dirt nap, but I love these views. That is so great. I hope it translates on the video that you're watching here okay, and it doesn't just look like a big artifact mess. That is awesome. Uh-oh. And we just made him skid on the ground because I really wanted a screenshot. Oh well. 200 meters away, you have broken legs. Good thing you have RCS and there's low gravity, right? Okay, so let's ragdoll. Ragdolling's fun. He's not going to slide all the way down the hill though, so one more time. Okay, so a little bit of speed. A little more speed. And then we could probably just actually fly up to the crew capsule like this. We don't have to touch the ground ever again. But yes, Paddock, you are getting rescued finally. Because remember, the Kerbals in our space program are all pretty much at Duna right now. I've been doing off camera a few rescue missions. So we have kind of the B team, the backup crew. But we just want to make sure that Paddock doesn't, in his delusion of, is this really a rescue vessel? I've been standing outside my capsule with no life support for a year. I guess Kerbals don't need to eat too much, or their snacks are very hearty. Let's turn on the light. So I'm not sure which side the entrance is on. This is not the side the entrance is on. Let's not take out our solar panels. And like I said, I could be mining here. And I'll show you, of course it's a mining vessel. That would save Paddock. And we're just going to fly over here. We do have to contend with the moon's gravity a little more, and there's no great ladder, so this is not the best rescue vessel ever. Grab it, board it, there we go. And we have what contracts so far? We have Rescue Paddock Kerman. We get tiny bit of money, a little bit of reputation. This is much more of a reputation mission. But now that we're here, let's see, we can deploy the drill. We do actually have the surface scanner here as well. And it says that there is a tiny bit of ore here. Remember from our ore map is that we're actually in a kind of dead area. So if I do activate this. Alright, so things are good, hopefully, but you'll notice here that even right now we're at 25% load. So before we leave, we actually need to get some more ore. And I'm going to give this a shot. I don't know how much ore we'll be able to get. It's at 100% load right now. And we're going to check our ore canisters just to see how much we get from here. Chances are it's not going to be a lot. Because once again, we're in one of the dry basins. And all that means is it's going to take us more time to get where we're going. And one of the things is that you kind of have to babysit this a little bit. When it gets dark, and because I don't have enough background power, the drill bit will stop. So there we go. You get some nice sunrises and sunsets. Let's go ahead and just create a little bit of fuel here, and all we're going to do the next little bit is just micromanage. And when I say micromanage, I mean actually mining things, because you have to start this every time. I'm sure there's a good hotkey for it. But I want to give myself some fuel. I want to give myself some other stuff, and we're going to get some ore as well. So I don't need to have a full everything to get this going, but you'll notice that the next iteration of this is going to have a lot more power. So once we do that, we have more than enough fuel to get back home. So I'm not too concerned about that now. Let's just go ahead and get our contractually obligated. How much ore do we need? Have 400 units of ore in your vessel, and put the ore in orbit around Kerbal. So we can't just do a hard descent. We actually have to get into orbit here. So we have 2 canisters. They fill up evenly. It's going to take a few days. A few days of mining. We are mining in the worst possible place on the moon, because that's how we roll. Yeah, and of course you gotta deal with Kerbal eclipses as well. So I'm not, once again, this is not about efficiency, but we are going to go ahead and probably just call this an episode. We will just to let you know that yes, Dudfriend and Paddock Kerman will make it back. And when we continue next time, we're going to talk about some of the contracts that are coming up, because like I said, or maybe I didn't say, like I meant to say at some point, there is about to be some new planetary exploration going on in the coming days. I have contracts for Jool, I have contracts for Eve. I hope to get more in the days to come, but for now this is a little bit of micromanagement back and forth, and we're pretty much at time. Look at how little ore per minute here. There's like 1/100th of the other area, but we're doing this anyway because why not? Hope you enjoyed it. This is Asher. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, feel free to subscribe or anything of that nature, but otherwise it's great to have you here. Tell me about the video quality, please. I want it to be good. I want it to be good for you all. So thanks for watching. Take care.